Hola, welcome back to another episode of Karishma Connect. This week, it's a first for me and the guest. It's her first podcast, my first podcast on spray tanning. Yes, you heard that right. I'm speaking to Gemma Richards, founder of Kazimi Tan here in Dubai. She's somebody I met at an event where we had invited British moms, and she talks to me more about leaving her job at British Moms, starting her own brand, how she got inspired by her previous journey of making candles back in the UK, and she wanted to set up something of her own back here in Dubai when she shifted, and how Kazimi Tan was born. And how spray tanning is a thing, what people must keep in mind, why is it done, what's in it for you, and a whole lot more. So go check it out. Some really interesting tips for small businesses as well. Until the next one, stay tuned. This is Karishma, and I'll be back. Until then, lots of love. Thank you so much, Gemma, for joining me on this episode of Karishma Connect. Quite a unique connection. I never thought I would be speaking to you about this, but I'm so glad we connected, and here we are. Thank you once again for your time on this one.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's fantastic to be here. This is my first ever podcast, so thank you.
I've had so many firsts on this podcast, and it's always very special when somebody says that because it's just a different feeling. It's one of those few things that you feel happy about, those rare things in podcasting because there's so many happening. But when somebody says it's a first, I'm always very happy. So thank you so much. Uh, First question I ask on this podcast, Gemma, is tell me about your journey so far. How has it been? What have you been into? How did you start? Be it as an entrepreneur, be it as a human per se who was ambitious, all of that. Give me the deets on the background.
Okay, well, I suppose um, in terms of Kazumi Tan, that was born out of wanting to do something here in Dubai. I had a small business back in the UK called Wick Warriors. It was candle making. So I made my own candles, which and it was incredible. I mean, in the first year, I didn't make any losses. I sort of broke even, and so to do that as a small business is incredible.
Yes.
And it really kind of got me out of a little bit of a dark place after having my two children. I have two little boys, and they are very close in age. So they're 7 and 8 now, but there's literally 13 months between them. So yeah, that was kind of a crazy time, and I needed something back for myself. So that's how I got started with that. And then when I moved out here, I didn't actually bring any of my candle making equipment because I wasn't actually sure how it would go down here, and I just wanted to test the waters. But as it happened, I went to a British Mums event,
Okay.
and as you know, British Mums Dubai, an expat community here, which is just fantastic for people first moving over here. Well, it's just a great support network. And I've met some incredible people through it. And what happened was I ended up working for them. So I went to a couple of events, offered my services as working for their Instagram because I knew that they focused mainly with the Facebook group. So I thought maybe I could bring something to their Instagram
Yeah.
and basically did that. So I worked for their Instagram, and then after that, I went on to working in their sales and marketing team, which is
Lovely.
how I met your lovely self.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and my passion was really working with small businesses because I'd had one, and I like working alongside them. So yeah, so I was working on the team doing that, and after 2 years, I just felt that I kind of just wanted to focus my attentions on something that was solely mine again. It's hard going from having something like that and to then working for someone, regardless of how amazing they are, because the team are fantastic, and I would call them friends. That more than they're not colleagues, they're friends.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to reclaim something back, and as it happens, I had spray tans. I was getting regular spray tans from a lady working in Dubai, and she wasn't able to make it on this one occasion that I wanted her. So I contacted someone else, and it just happened to be Jasmine, who works for the tanning company. Now
Okay.
she's fantastic. Jasmine is an incredible person who has brought over spray tanning to Dubai. I think she's probably one of the only people that is out there training people in spray tanning in the UAE currently. So so she sprayed me. We got chatting because I'm a very chatty person, as you know. And she said, yeah, I train. I don't just spray tan people myself. I actually train people to spray tan. So it got me thinking, and I thought I could do this around my children. I could do this around life in general. So why not? So I retrained, and that was a year ago. And here I am now with, a growing client base and loving it.
That smile says it all.
Yeah.
You can see the passion there. But tell me something about spray tanning because it's not like everybody knows about it, right? It is a very
Yeah.
uh, some
Yeah.
people do. It also I think has got to go do with different groups, whether it's demographics,
Yeah.
diversity, all of that. So tell me about the concept itself. Why
Sure.
do people do it? What they should know about it? All of that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, it's been around for a very long time, spray tanning generally, but especially back in the UK, it was probably a bit more popular than here because in the UK we don't see as much sunshine.
Yeah.
However, and it is actually quite funny because I will tell people that I spray people brown here, and everyone's like, "Well, why?" Because it's sunny and you can be outside and getting a tan. But many people work indoors. Um, and like sun damage, that's essentially the main overarching kind of theme here is people, especially here, I've noticed, are very interested in looking after themselves.
What do they need to take care about before they make that decision to come in for a session?
Okay, well, so it's a really straightforward appointment, and I mean, anyone can come. So the solution that I use is by Nuvatan, which is actually a British founded company. A lady who was using it, decades ago, decided she was going to formulate her own solution because she wanted to get away from that. In the past, they have been very orangey in colour, and I know even now people are a bit nervous about using fake tan products because they can give you a bit of an orange tinge. That's
Okay.
just Nuvatan is, I guess, leading in the market because it actually contains DHA. DHA is in all fake tans, but it actually the DHA chemical that's in there, that's the only chemical, is like a green undertone. So actually, it provides a really nice base. It's like more of an olivey color rather than any orange. So anyone can come and have a spray tan. It's literally open to all. The solutions that I use are incredibly safe. As I say, the only chemical that's in it, and it's a very safe chemical, is DHA, and you need that to be able to actually tan. But everything else in there is all organic, so it's safe to use on anyone who's got skin conditions. I spray people who've got eczema, psoriasis, pregnant women.
Okay.
It's very safe. It's just going to give you just a lovely glow, and again, it works on all skin types, but all colours as well. So depending on how dark you would go naturally in the sun, you would then become that colour by having the spray tan. So anyone can achieve a natural glow. It's open to all.
It's very interesting. But you've also stepped into unknown waters with something like that, right? It's not your mainstream. With
Yeah,
something the business, it's not like the mainstream territory that you go for. Can you tell me more about that process, about kind of having the courage to go ahead with it and just the challenges, the opportunities around that?
yeah. I think. Well, as I said, it was a very serendipitous moment by meeting Jasmine and just kind of chatting to her about it. Um, but also, skin cancer has touched my family. I know my dad, he's suffered from skin cancer in the past, so it's something that is close to my heart. And with two young boys, I keep them completely covered up in the sun. They've got rash vests on, and I'm slapping the SPF like the factor 50, 100 on them just to make sure that I'm looking after them. It's kind of, as you say, We are moving forward with SPF. When I was younger, my parents did their best to cover me up in the sun, but prior to that, I don't think people really used sun cream all that much. I think there is the demand to still have a bit of colour, but without the sun damage.
Coming to your other passion, Gemma, which is SMEs,
Yeah.
right? Which is supporting small businesses. Tell me, what do
Mhm.
you love about it? What makes you feel very passionate about that space?
I think from having like my own small business in the UK, that's really when I discovered what an incredible network it is. It's there's a saying that you're more likely to make a friend, no, a client a friend than a
Yeah.
friend a client. And whilst lots of the small businesses I work with they're not necessarily clients, but they are. I've met some incredible people, and just through also social media and the power of networking through the little squares. Um,
Yes.
it's like the best club to be part of because everyone's there and kind of we might be doing similar things, we might be doing completely different things, but we've all got that same passion and drive, and that you can just talk to someone and they totally understand. And that's why I feel quite at home in that sort of community. um, but yeah, as I was saying before, we've got a lot. Spray tanning is on the rise, and Jasmine is doing a fantastic job of um, having well teaching more and more people, training more people to do it here, which is fantastic. And I know for a lot of people that might be quite nerve wracking because we're how many at what point do we get to saturation point of spray tanners to client ratios. But I am a firm believer of there being space for everyone. So there is literally room for everyone. And we're all going about it in a slightly different way. We've all got like our unique selling point. That is it's a super humbling experience,
Yeah.
but it's also an incredible one for me because I'm just going into someone's house and spraying them happy. I'm kind of used to being around people and hopefully making them feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's the thing for me. It probably sounds quite selfish, but I mean it in a selfless way. But
Yeah.
making people feel good makes me happy.
Yeah. And then tell me, you have been into these circles where there's so many small, medium business owners
Yeah.
around. Tell me, what have you tell me the three things that you have kind of understood about navigating that small business journey, and also add an element of guidance from the process that you've had of breaking
Mhm.
even back in UK, which you just
Yeah.
mentioned,
Yeah.
at such a, at the small business level.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the first thing I would say is that the UAE is a fantastic place and incredibly supportive of small to medium enterprises. I mean, but the UK it's very simple to set up your own business, but here it just feels like you've got that extra hand like guiding you. Um, the second thing I would say, and this is like a non-negotiable, get a license.
Mm.
Do
Very
it.
true.
There are so many people out there, and they're all starting up these little side hustles, which is great to see, but just do it the right way, because it's only fair to yourself, but fair to other small businesses that are out here doing it all the right way and above board. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing I would say. Um, Networking is just so
Mm.
easy here. I mean, we've got everything at the touch of a button on our phones. I'm part of several small business like networking groups. And whilst you can dabble in, you don't have to be on it all the time. You don't have to go to the events, but you've just got this incredible support network of people behind you. You can ask a question any time of the day or night, and someone will know and be able to offer you guidance on it. So I'm talking like the small retailer network, I think. But there's also all of the expat groups as well. I'm kind of got my finger in a lot of pies there. But also the community groups here. It's not something that we had back in the UK, but where you've got your own community. I'm based
Yeah.
in Mira, the Mira community, fellow Miranians, as I like to call them. they're fantastic and they're super supportive, and just, I would say it really, really helps because there's so much, it's a freebie as well. You're not having to pay to advertise through a lot of these community groups. So they often do a small business shout out day. For small businesses, especially, if you can kind of tap into that market, you could be, free advertising like every day of the week if you chose the right groups. So yeah, that's been super helpful for me personally, and I know a lot of other small businesses. That is just, you can't put a price on that. I think you have to be open-minded. And I think whilst you can, and I actually, before I started my first small business back in the UK, I went to an incredible meeting. Again, it was like a networking event, which is so unusual for me because I may come across as quite outgoing, but actually I'm kind of an extroverted introvert, and I don't like to put myself out there, but you do have to just give yourself that push. And kind of move out of your comfort zone if you want to get anywhere, really. You have to have those difficult conversations that you might not want to. You have to go to markets, go to events and stand there, all day and, speak to a few people, because you just don't know who those people are, and it has like a domino effect. In a positive way, you can speak to one person, like I spoke to you, and here we are. It's just, you just never know. So be open-minded to everything, and if things don't feel like they're kind of like you're hitting the mark straight away, then it's a learning. No one's, we're all kind of learning together. Things are changing constantly. There is no rule book anymore. It's just, whatever works.
Yes,
Try new things. I think they're the important points, I would say, to anyone kind of wanting to start out. Just expect the unexpected.
You've also been somebody in social media and marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, correlate that to small business, the setup itself, and tell me, what point do you think it is right for people to start investing in social media and how they can navigate that journey?
Okay, so I mean, me personally, whilst I did use some kind of paid promotions in the UK for selling, I actually don't here. Where it's a smaller, I mean, yeah, the UAE and especially Dubai is quite small, and I feel like I can pretty much do most of what I need to do without paying to advertise, and again, particularly with what I do, it's very word of mouth. So I'll spray someone and then they'll refer me to a friend, and then it's kind of, that's how I market. So I don't really, but that's kind of what I do. But there are so many great ways to do it, and you don't have to spend a huge amount. I mean, again, going back to British Mums, they offer some incredible packages for small businesses that are really, they're good. And even in comparison to what I was spending in the UK for something similar, they are incredibly supportive, and definitely like Rights Market, there's Mint Market. There are so many amazing guys out there who are all, they're just very, very supportive of small businesses. They want you to do well, and it doesn't have to cost the earth. And I think, when you are starting out, you need to be mindful of how much is going out to what's coming in, obviously. You don't have to spend a lot.
Well, thank you, Gemma. That was really insightful. Thank you so much for the lovely chat, and I look forward to sharing this one. And more power to you and Kazimi Dan.
Oh, thank you so much, Karishma. Honestly, this has been fantastic, and thank you for the opportunity.